Hi, I'm going to walk you through how to use this bingo generator. So when you downloaded this product, you would have found that there are 5 different bingo board generators: the 3x3 with free space, 3x3, 4x4, 5x5 with a free space, and 5x5. So those are the different options of the size bingo boards that you can create. And then there's also the calling card options. You've got the individual calling cards and the printable calling cards as well. So I'll start off just by showing you one of the bingo board generators. So I'll open up the 3x3 with a free space one over here. And when you are creating a set of bingo boards, I would recommend that you make a copy of the original and work on the copy so that you don't change the original generator file, so that you can keep on reusing it all the time. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is enable content so that the generator can actually work. Now on the first screen over here, you'll see that you have 2 numbers that you can fill in. The first number is the number of items that you can use on your bingo board. So you can have a bingo board that has 9 squares or 16 squares or 25 squares or whatever, but you can have up to 100 items that can be used on those randomly in the squares on those bingo boards. Then over here you also have a number that you can fill in. This over here, there's no limit to the number that you can put in here. You can put as many in as you want. This is the number of bingo boards that you want to create. So I've just put in 30 as a default, but you can change that number to whatever you want it to be. Obviously, the higher the number, the longer it will take to create the bingo boards. And then at the bottom over here, you've got the different types of content that you can have on your bingo board. So you can create bingo boards that have only text in the squares. You can have bingo boards that have only pictures in the squares. You can have bingo boards that have pictures with captions, or you can also have a combination of those. Okay, so in the example that I'm going to show you now, I'm going to be doing a bingo board that is using 75 pictures, and I'll be doing caption pictures, and I will create 30 different bingo boards. So what I'm going to do is click on this button over here so that I can start the slideshow, so that I can click on that button to select caption pictures. So I'm going to click here and start the slideshow and click on caption pictures, and now you can see it brings me to this slide over here where it's telling me how to put in the pictures. So it just says that I've chosen to create a game that has 75 caption pictures altogether using one set of pictures. If you had got the commercial version of this generator, then you would be able to create color and black and white. So that's what that one set of pictures is about. It's just using one set instead of 2 sets. Okay, so it tells me to go to the folder containing the generator file and create a new folder for my pictures and add all 75 pictures to this folder. Now I've already created that folder with my pictures, so I don't need to do that now. And then I need to go to insert, so that's this tab over here, and on pictures, select from this device. So I'm going to insert pictures from this device, and then I'm going to go and insert those 75 pictures. And once I've done that, I will then start the slideshow again and click on that arrange pictures button over there. So I'm going to quickly go and do that. So I'm going to click on pictures and insert from this device, and then here I've got my pictures ready, so I'm just going to select all of them. I've got 75 in this folder and insert, and now they've all been inserted over there. I don't need to worry about moving them around myself because this button will do that for me. So I'm just going to start the slideshow again from this slide and then click on this button to arrange the pictures, and now you can see that all the pictures are arranged in a table sort of form like this, where I can put the caption next to each picture. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. I'm going to just fill in all of those captions. So I've got 1 half and 2 halves and so on. So I'm going to fill those in, then I'll come back. Okay, so now I've filled in all of my captions, so now I'm ready to go to the next slide. And here you can see on this next slide it tells me to start the slideshow from the slide, and then I can click on the button to generate my sample squares for my bingo board. So I'm going to click on there to start the slideshow, and then I'm going to click on the generate samples button. And now it's generating all of those samples, and this is what all of those squares will look like on my bingo board. Now I can go and format the text here if I want to. So if I just select all of them, Control A to select all of them, and then I can change the font. So if I want to make it that font, and I can change the size of the font if I want to. I can also, if I feel like the font is too high up, too close to the pictures, I can change that as well by going to Format, Object, and then Text Options, and over here in Text Box I can change the bottom margin, and I can make that 0.1 if I want to. And then that just lowers those captions down a little bit so they're not so close to the pictures. So you can play around with that, you can change them. You can also change individual ones if you want to. So if you feel like there's a particular one that needs to change slightly differently because the caption's a bit longer and it doesn't fit or something like that, you can also change individual ones as well like that if you want to, just by selecting the ones that you want to change. So you can change all of the captions, the formatting and so on as you like. Okay, once you are happy with how your bingo squares look, you can go to the next slide. And on the next slide, here we can choose the template that we want to use for our bingo board. So to do that, it just tells you what to do over here. You go to the layout option in the home tab, so that's over here. And then over here you can see I've got all of these different options for you that you can choose from for the bingo boards. So there are a number of different options that are available to you. I've got the ones with the smiley stars for the free space. I've also got plain stars for the free space if you don't want the cutesy look, if you're doing this for older students. And then also obviously if you don't want the free space, you would need to choose the plain 3x3, or there are the other sizes on those other generator files as well, so whichever one you chose. But in this case I'm going to choose to use this one over here, and then because I have chosen that layout, all of my bingo boards that I generate will have that layout, but I would be able to change them again after I've generated them if I want to do that. So I have inserted everything that I want to, and now I'm going to go and generate my bingo board. So to do that, I'm just going to come to the next slide over here, and let's just have a look at the information it gives you. So in order to click on this button again, the same thing I need to do, start the slideshow from the slide, so Shift and F5, or by clicking on this button over here. While it is busy generating, these are the things that are going to be happening. The file is going to be saved with everything that you have done to it. So all of the pictures that you've added, all the text that you've added, all the formatting that you've done, the template that you've chosen, all of that will be saved. So the file will be saved in the state that it is in at this point in time. Then slides will be added for the bingo boards using everything that you have chosen and inserted into this generator. So because I have chosen to make a game of 30 different bingo boards, I will have 30 bingo boards being generated. So all of those slides will need to be added. And then all the slides that are not actually part of the game, which would be all the slides that aren't actually bingo boards, will be deleted as well. Okay, so that's why the file was saved before all of that was done, so that you have a copy of the work in progress file that you can then go back and edit if you want to. If you are wanting to just change the template, you would be able to change the version that has the bingo boards on rather than the original. Or you can change the original and then just generate it again because it doesn't take too long. Then once that is all finished, saving your game, you're going to obviously need to save your bingo boards. Please don't just save it as you normally would save a file, because then you would save over the work in progress version of this file. So you would not be able to come back and make changes. So what you would need to do now is you would need to save it by doing Control-Shift-S, so that you bring up the Save As window, and then save it as a new file. And I recommend saving it as a PowerPoint presentation, which no longer has macros, because you don't need macros. Once the bingo boards have been generated, you won't need those macros anymore. So when it brings up a message asking if you want to save it as a macro-free presentation, you will click yes, because you don't need the macros anymore. Then once you have finished saving it, if you need to make changes to your game, then you can by just going in and changing the design of the bingo board by selecting the bingo boards that you want to and going to the home and layout tab option, and then just choosing a different design if you want to. Or if you want to change the content, you would need to go back to the original generator file again so that you can make changes to the contents there. Okay, but before we get to that, let's just go and generate our bingo board. So I'm going to go, and in order to click on this button, I need to start the slideshow from the slide, and then I can click on this button. And now you can see it's busy adding in all of those slides for the bingo boards. and populating them with all of the contents that it has got from everything that we added. And you can see that they are all completely randomized. Every bingo board will be completely unique from each other. And there are 30 bingo boards because that is the number that we filled in the beginning. And that is as easy as it is. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go and press Ctrl-Shift-S to save this. And I'm going to save this as fractions bingo game, or bingo boards rather, and then I'm going to change the file type to pptx because I don't need the macros anymore, although it doesn't really matter because it's not going to affect anybody else anyway. And then we are going to save it as a macro-free presentation, so yes. And now it's saved. So now if I close this, I can come back to the folder over here again, and now you can see I still have the original over here that I was working on. So if I open that, it has got everything that I filled in. So it still has 75 because that's what I filled in, and it has still got all the pictures and the text that I filled in. It's still got the squares with the captions, with all the formatting that I did, and it has still got the template that I chose. If I wanted to make any changes, then unfortunately you can't make changes here and then regenerate the sample squares, but what you can do is you can come over here and you can just change the caption, and then you can just generate the game again. If you're wanting to change more than a few, then I would recommend just starting the process again. It really doesn't take very long anyway to do. Okay, so that is how you would go back and make changes. Now I just want to show you if you wanted to change the template. So if you just want to change the theme of the game and you want to keep all the contents the same, then you can go to this one over here that we saved once we had already generated the game. And you can see over here I've got all of my bingo games, all my bingo boards rather. So I'm going to click on one and then press Ctrl A, and that selects all of them. And now if I go to the Home tab, the layout option, I can choose one of these over here, and all of them will then change to that new template. So it is very easy to just go and change all of them to a completely different theme or a different design just by selecting all the slides that I want to change and changing the layout option over there. And then they will all change at the same time. And then you can just save it again or save it with a new name if you want to, so you have copies of both. So it's very easy to go and change the design like that. Okay, so I'm going to go and close that, and I can save it if I want to. It doesn't really matter either way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the other options, the other ways that you can create. So I showed you the caption pictures option. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like for the text option. So if you do the text option, then again you start the slideshow and click on text, and then it'll bring this up. Now because I still had 75 filled in, it has 75 spaces for me to fill in. If I had 10, it would have 10 spaces. So it gives you the number of spaces to fill in based on the number that you filled in over there for the number of contents you want to have for your bingo boards. So I would go and add my contents to this over here. So let me just do that quickly. Okay, so now I've added all of those text items that I want to use in my game. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go and generate my samples. So I go to the next slide and I generate my samples, and then it looks like this. Now again, just like for the captions, I can change the formatting of the font because these aren't fitting so nicely, so I can just select all of it, and I'm going to just make the font smaller so that everything will fit on nicely. I can also change the font change it to a different font if I want to, make sure that everything is fitting nicely. I'm seeing that some of these are not fitting quite as well, so I could change individual ones over here if I want to, by making them a little bit smaller. Maybe they'll fit then. So you can make individual ones different as well, but if we want all of them to be the same, then I could make them all that same size so that they all are uniform. So you can change individual items, you can change all of them together. It's entirely up to you. You can also change the color and so on. You can make individual ones different fonts and so on as well. Okay, and then obviously you can change your bingo board, and then you would come and generate your game. or generate your bingo boards. And once you have clicked on that, then you can see that they have all been generated. They are all different and they're all text because that is what I put in. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. And now I'm going to go and do the next option. So there's pictures over here. So this one will not have obviously any text. So if I go and put in my pictures, the instruction is still the same. Okay, so I'm going to go and put in my pictures. So I go to insert. The instructions here are all still the same as they were for the caption pictures. So I'm just doing the exact same things I did before. So this device, and then I'm going to go and insert all of those pictures that I'm using. And again, I'm going to arrange the pictures. That is important. If I don't do that, the generator won't be able to use these pictures properly, because when it's arranged, then they're all named and so on. So the generator knows what pictures to use when and so on. So you need to do that step, even though you're not putting any text over here. Okay, so now we're going to go and generate the samples. So I click on here to generate the samples, and that is what my bingo squares will look like once I have generated my bingo boards. And then obviously I can go and change my template if I want to, and then I can generate my bingo boards. And that is what they would look like. Now, and you can see again, they're all completely randomized. They're all completely different to what they were even in the previous versions that I did. Every single time they'll be completely different to every other time. Okay, so now I'm going to go and press Ctrl Z so I can show you the last example, which is the combination. Now for the combination, this allows you to have text and pictures and captions, or caption pictures, all in one game if you want to, or you can have two of the three as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on here to start it and then select combination. And now it's saying, okay, so I have chosen to create bingo boards with 75 items altogether. Now I need to fill in how many of those I want to be text. So say I want to use 30 text items, and I press OK. Then I can now fill in how many pictures I want to use. That's plain pictures, not caption pictures. So for the pictures, again, I can fill in, but here I can fill in as many pictures as I want, up to from 0 to 45. It has worked out the difference. So it's telling you how many you can use. You can't put anything higher than 45 because you don't have 45 left. You've already used 30 of the 75. Okay, but you can fill in 0, and I could have done that for text as well. If you don't want to use text, if you only want to use pictures and caption pictures, you just put in 0, and then it'll know that you are not going to be using that particular type of item in your bingo board or in your bingo game. So now what we're going to do is, for the pictures, I can fill in 20 and press OK, and then it automatically works out the difference to know how many caption pictures will be used in the game. And I click OK, and now it fills in. So this is where I'm going to put in my plain text. So this was 30 items, so I'm going to fill that in quickly. Okay, so I filled in the plain text for my bingo game. Now I'm going to go to the next slide, and this is where I'm going to be putting in my pictures. That's the plain pictures, not the caption pictures. So here it tells me what to do. It tells me I'm supposed to be putting in 20 pictures. So I'm going to go to my pictures folder, and I will use from, because I've filled in the text that fits the first 30, so I'm going to use the next 20 as the pictures for this one over here. And I'm going to go and arrange the pictures, and so it has done that for me. And so now I'm going to go to the last slide, and this is where I'm going to do my caption pictures. So for my caption pictures, it's 25 from 51 to 75. And I'm going to again arrange the pictures, and this time, because it's caption pictures, I need to still go and fill in that text, so I'll do that quickly. Okay, so now I've filled in all the captions for the pictures that I'm using as caption pictures. So now I can go to the next slide and I can generate my samples. So I click on there, and now all the samples are generating. Now you can see over here that these first ones are the plain text, so I don't like how that font is working, or how the text, the size is working, so I'm going to just change that so that everything fits properly. And then I'm going to go and check these ones over here. So here I've got my plain pictures, and then I've got my caption pictures last. So I can change the font and so on if I want to over here. At the moment, I'm just going to leave it as it is because I'm fine with it how it is. And now we can go and change our template if we want to, and then go and generate our bingo boards. So I click on there to generate the bingo boards, and you can see that it's busy adding them all in. And now it has filled in on the bingo boards. There are some items that are plain text, there are some items that are plain pictures, and some that are caption pictures, and they are all completely randomized. And that is how you use the bingo board generator. So now I'm going to go and show you the calling card generators. The calling card generators pretty much work exactly the same as the bingo board generator. So all I'm going to do, first of all, I'll do the printable calling cards. So I'm going to open that up and enable the content so that it will all work properly. And same thing as with the bingo boards, I can choose up to a maximum of 100. And in this case, again, I'm going to use 75. Okay, and exactly the same as the bingo boards, you have the choice between text, pictures, caption pictures, and a combination. And they're all, what you will do will be exactly the same as what you did for the bingo boards. But I'm still going to show it to you because I want to. It looks a little bit different because the shape of the calling cards is different, obviously, to the bingo boards. And what the final product looks like is different as well. So I'm going to start my slideshow and click on caption pictures, and then I'm going to go and this is all exactly the same as it was on the bingo boards. So I'm just going to go and insert my pictures. So select all of those and then arrange them, and then I can go and add in all my text. So I'll do that quickly. Okay, so now I've finished adding in all my text, and now I can go and generate my samples again. So I'm going to click on there and click generate samples, and now it is busy adding all of those in. You can see for the calling cards, the shape is a rectangle like this. So because it's not square, the captions are put on the left and the pictures are put on the right of that rectangle. And that is what your calling cards will look like. Again, you can change the font, you can change the size, you can change the formatting of all that text if you want to. So I can just go and select all of it, and I can change the font and so on individually, all together, or I can select individual ones and I can change them individually if I want to as well. Once you've done that, over here, just like with the bingo boards, we can go and change our layout by choosing a different template. So going to home and layout, and I can choose one of the templates here. These are the different options that you have available. You can have color with black outlines, you can have color with white outlines, and you can have white with color outlines. So I'm just going to choose pastel yellow because I think that matches what I did for my bingo boards. And then I will go and generate the calling cards. This all is exactly the same as it was for the bingo boards. And that is what the calling cards look like. So you can see that we've got all of our calling cards with the captions and with the pictures, like that. And then obviously because I'm only using 75 and there are 10 on the page, there are some that are empty like that. So that is what you'll end up with for your calling cards. Then you can also create, and so if I just undo that, just like for the bingo boards, like I said, you have all those different options, and they all work the same as they did for the bingo boards. So I'm not going to show all of those because it all works exactly the same as the bingo boards. So now I'm going to go and show you the individual calling cards. So if I click on here and enable the content, again, it's exactly the same, it's just a different shape. So if I just go and change that to 75 and do my caption pictures like that, then insert my pictures, select all and insert, then I'll just start my slideshow and click on arrange pictures, and here I've got my tables for adding in my text. So I'm going to quickly add in all that text. Okay, so I finished adding in the text for my calling cards. So now what I'm going to go and do is generate the samples again. So I'm going to click on generate samples, and now it is generating all of those samples just like it did for the printable ones, but the individual ones are great if you're wanting to save your calling cards as individual images, or if you're wanting to use them in a slideshow format or something like that. Then the individual ones are great because each of the slides will be a separate calling card. So like over here, if I go to this now, you can see this is what one calling card would look like in terms of the templates, and I can go and choose different templates. They are the same design as the printable ones were. Okay, so I will choose the pastel yellow again so that it all matches nicely, and then I will go and generate my calling card. So I've start the slideshow and generate. And that is what all my calling cards look like. And again, it all works exactly the same as the bingo board one did. So if I wanted to do text only, it would work the same as the bingo board option. Example, if I wanted to do pictures only, also if I wanted to do the combination, I just want to show you, if you're doing a combination, it works the same for the bingo boards and for the printable. If you choose, so over here, if I chose that I wanted to have no plain text, I could put a 0 in there, and that'll be okay, no plain text. Then it says I can still choose from 0 to 75 because I haven't got any calling cards that are plain text. So now this is for pictures. If I want to use 30 pictures, then I'll have 45 caption pictures. So let's go OK. And now you can see over here, the first one is telling me, okay, I haven't chosen to use any text items. So I'm going to go to the next slide. And here I'm going to go and fill in my pictures. So the first 30 pictures over there, and click on Arrange Pictures. And then the next one is my caption pictures. Now I need 45 over here. So I'm going to go and do from 31 to 75. That is 45. And I'm going to go and do that, and then I will put in that text quickly. Okay, so I finished adding in all my captions, so now let me go and generate my samples. So if I click on there, then you'll see now when I generate the samples, I don't have any text ones first because I chose to have no text. So I go straight into the picture ones, and then after the picture ones, I have the caption picture ones there as well. So that is how it works when you're using a combination. If you choose to use 0 for any of the items, then it'll just give you a message like this on the slide where you would have put that content in. It just tells you chose not to use any of that type of content, and then you obviously put into the other two slides. Okay, so that is how your calling cards work. Right, I hope that has been helpful, and I hope that you will enjoy creating bingo games, and that this generator will save you an immense amount of time, and that your students will enjoy playing the games that you create. Have a fantastic day. Goodbye.